Hello. Oh, it's this box of tissues. Hello, everyone. Let's see if I can. Oh, see, not that. Just like this. Everything is wonky. Wonky. But who would I be if it's not for a little wonk wonk? So I'm soaking my feet right now. And this is the first time I've soaked my feet in not cold water. Hey, Holly. How are you doing today? Usually, when I soak my feet, I use cold water because that's how I was instructed on how to do it whenever I do a foot soaking meditation. And I thought I'd just come live and pull a few cards, even though I should be doing homework because I don't want to have a lot to do. But it's fine. Did anybody see the moon this morning? I got up. We left out at almost like 6:50 maybe, and I step outside the house, and the moon is just like staring at me. I'm like, "Hello!" It was like super bright and huge. Well, it looked like it was like zooming in and zooming out as we were driving. But I was like, "It's like daytime. Hello, it is not nighttime right now. Somebody needs to tell the moon that it's time to go." It snowed this morning and no sunshine. Excuse me. Nice. Today was Employee Appreciation Day, so I got some free stuff and lunch, and I was with my coworkers, so it was me and the lab people. It was the micro crew, and at first it was a little awkward because like nobody was talking. Maybe it's because everybody was eating, and then we started talking, and it was less awkward. Hey Eve, how you doing today? I have not watched Taurus yet to see if we get tricked or treated. Princess of Swords, number 55, Four of Cups. Marcus, okay. And I have the Tarot of Magical Correspondences, I have the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck, and the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. I was going to use the Tarot of Dreams and the Dreams of Gaia, Tarot Dreams of Gaia, but I was like, do I want to use the Tarot of Dreams? Then I was like, I should use the Tarot of Magical Correspondences. I don't know what I'm doing today. I'm just going to pull a card. Excuse me. Nah, you didn't come out. So let's get a card to come out. I feel like I thought about something today, but I don't even remember. I don't even remember what I thought about. How many cards is this? That's 3 cards. I can do that. The Ten of Swords, the Lovers, and the Four of Coins, with the Knight of Coins at the bottom of the deck. 55, 153, 10, and 21. I was like, I feel like I've been seeing the number 21 a lot today, but it's the 21st, so I've been writing it a lot. Excuse me. I haven't seen it yet. I watched like literally 2 seconds where you had the Earth card out. I watched to the part where you said it looks like there's something rising from the Earth, and then I did this. Reem convinced you to post it? Oh, that's nice. Okay. Is this a unicorn? Oh, it is a unicorn. Ooh, look at the horn on this unicorn. Oh my gosh. What's receptacular mean? The vision of love. Oh, it's the lovers in the vision of love. Power of being in two or more places at one time. disposing intelligence, measuring cohesive or receptacular eye, or one. I don't know if it's an eye or one. Looking for his peanut. Who's looking for a peanut? Oh, there's a squirrel rustling around in your attic space. Probably because it was snowing outside today. It's trying to get cozy. Ooh, trying to get nice and warm. Excuse me. The thing I like about this Ten of Swords, though, or I don't know, the vision of the holy guardian angel or of Adonai. I don't know what Adonai is. This is the sun in Gemini, and then the sun in Capricorn. I almost want to do it like this because then it would be VIXIV, but it's XVIIV. I was sad because I got some peanuts at work, and today I was like, I don't have any snacks. And one of my coworkers was like, I got some hot Cheetos if you want some. I was like, really? She's like, yeah, they're in my lunch, like a little bag. You can have them. And I was like, I got these peanuts. I've been drinking the peanuts at work, and I didn't have enough peanuts to drink today. And I was hungry because the luncheon was at noon, and I'm used to going to lunch at 12 or at 11. And I was already hungry by like 10:30. But I was like, it's like dust. I have peanut dust in a jar. Uh-huh. That's what I was thinking about today. There's a bull on this card. It looks like a bull. It could be something else. And today, for some reason, I was thinking about the ox and the bull and how the ox and the bull are different. The ox and the cow, they're used to do different things on the farm. And how it's the year of the ox, how the North Node is going to shift into Taurus at the tail end of the year of the ox. Ooh. You're on day 3 of no pistachios. I've heard somebody say pistachios, and I was like, what? Pistachio? Apparently, that's how you pronounce it or something. Is that how you pronounce it in Italian? Is it Italian? I don't know. Y'all guess would be as good as mine. Pistachios. I was like, no way. You know how sometimes when somebody says that something is pronounced a certain way and you're like, you're messing with me. Like, no way is that how that's really pronounced. I could ask Siri. Let's see. Hey Siri, define Pistachio.
The edible pale green seed of an Asian tree. Do you want to hear the remaining one?
Yes.
The evergreen tree of the cashew family that produces this nut, with small brownish green flowers and reddish wrinkled fruit borne in heavy clusters. It is widely cultivated.
Hey Siri, what is a pistachio? Pistachio.
The pistachio, a member of the cashew family, is a small tree originating.
Siri just said pistachio. I like how Eve was like pistachio. Eve with the jokes. I'm so tired though. I'm so ready for this weekend. I'm so ready for this weekend. Hopefully I sleep. I will. Hopefully I'll get this homework done. Excuse me. So that I don't have to do it on Sunday after work. I've been seeing the number 17 a few times today. And then Earth was number 17 in Eve's collective reading. And the video was 17 minutes and some change long. I hope I don't drop a card in this water. I didn't even see. Okay, let's see. Let's look at these. So The Ten of Swords is Malkuth. The Lovers is Bina and Tiferet. And then the Four of Coins is Chesed. These are all over the board. The heart connects to everything, but I don't think it directly connects to Malkuth. Unless there's a connection that runs behind your side. And there could be. I don't know. We have the sense of smell, the sense of touch, and then in this major card, I don't think we have one. There's a Sphinx on here. The reason why I said this Ten of Swords is interesting because it feels like the shadow is being pierced by Swords of Light. And it almost reminds me of the Yu-Gi-Oh card, like OG Yu-Gi-Oh, Swords of Revealing Light. I don't remember what Swords of Revealing Light does. I think it lasts for like 3 turns. And let me look it up. All I remember is hearing Yugi say, Swords of Revealing Light. I don't know if it flips up face down cards or if it prevents trap cards and spell cards. Swords of Revealing Light. When this card is activated, if your opponent controls a face down monster, flip all monsters they control face up. Okay, while this card is face up on the field, I just found a Yu-Gi-Oh card. I think it was Snipe Hunter yesterday. Hello. Mm-hmm. Wait, where's the description? What's the Japanese? Hikari no Gofu Ken. Hikari no Gofu Ken. Hikari is light. Ken is sword. Gofu. I don't know what Gofu is. Maybe it's revealing because we got swords and light. Light of the revealed sword? I don't know. Flip monsters face up. Prevents your opponent's monsters from attacking. Girl, well, like, can I get the description, please? Where is the actual thing? It's just so, I don't know. It was on it on the Google, but it's not here. Excuse me. How many what? So it reminds me of Swords of Revealing Light. There's a Sphinx here, and the head of the Sphinx is in Keter. And it's almost like the Sphinx is looking at Bina. The Bina is here in the Lovers, which is next card. And it goes down to Tiferet, which is the heart. Bina, how many swords? The Ten of Swords? Bina is oh my gosh. Look. I told you how I've been seeing the number 17 today, right? This is path 17. Look at that. Path 17. I'm like, okay. I just saw that. Bina is left eye knowledge. and Chokma is right eye wisdom. In this, there's a sword. The hilt, or is that the cross guard? The cross guard of the sword is in Chesed. The pommel stone is above it. It's pointing down. There's a bird up here that's looking at the blade. It's either looking at the blade, looking at this bug question mark, or looking at path 17. There's something in Malkuth. I don't know what it is, but you can see that there's something in that right there. I feel like it shows up better on the camera. And Malkuth is here in the Ten of Swords. There's also the circle and the triangle, so shout out to Eve. See that? Shout out to Everlong Mystic. I feel like there's this energy where these two are like, it's like they're making all these nods to each other, but they're not actually touching. And then we have the Four of Coins off to the right. And it's under Chesed, which is mercy. I don't know what this rod is. The horn on this unicorn is extra long. We have this bottom left of the pentacle left energy. Left in the bottom left. And so in the cycle of elements, this is the next preceding one. Actually, it goes back because it starts there and then it goes down. What is this saying? These cards are a lot. There's an air energy here because the Ten of Swords is then the bird, but then we have this unicorn. And the opposite direction, facing the opposite direction of the Sphinx. It's interesting that the Four of Coins is the vision of love because the Four of Coins, it's a card of holding things really, really, really like tightly. And maybe it is because, sometimes when we love things, we can strangle them almost. We don't want to let them go. See, this is interesting. The Sphinx is looking in one direction, the unicorn is looking in a different direction. And in the Lovers card, they're both looking in opposite directions, right? And so both of these are looking in the same direction, and both of these looking in the same direction. So it does almost feels like there's almost a sort of ambivalence. But I don't know if ambivalence is the word. He was like, "Give me that snow, Holly. Give me that snow." Can I get a mystical shaman for this, please? I'm grasping at straws, so just like wait when I'm asking for a mystical shaman card of all things. I'm just playing. Is that an amethyst? Is this a sapphire? When I was in training, they talked about how they're like, if you've ever left the gas on at your home or whatever, like that smell is put into the gas to let you know that it's there. Some gases don't naturally have smells. And so it's almost like we could be in a situation and not even know it because the typical thing that causes an alert or an awareness, that thing that's added, is missing. And the reason why they don't have smells is because, like, if you're manufacturing something, you don't want your product to smell, right? Unless it's intended to smell. You want it to smell how it's intended, not like rotten eggs. And there's another thing about like picking a smell that people would be more commonly averse to as well. Like it doesn't smell pleasant. It's not like, ooh, I smell fresh baked cinnamon rolls. Like, oh, I'm in danger, right? And it's interesting because the Sphinx and the unicorn are looking in different directions. And it could be this energy where it's like it's literally right under your nose and you don't even see it, close enough that you can touch it, but you're looking in the wrong direction or something. Like there's a tail, but we're not aware of it in some way. I wonder if this past 17 is flowing forward or backward. Oof. Oh, this will be one of the decks that Patrick struggles with. It's like whenever like you're decent at predicting what someone's going to say in a conversation, or when like you think you know what they're talking about, and so you anticipate the question that they're going to ask, but then they ask you something different. And you're like, oh, so then you actually have to think, and you discard the thought, the prepared response that you have. That's way too many. But the moon popped out. I saw the moon this morning. I told you about that. I was like, moon, like, why are you still out? Hello? As if it isn't past sunrise. And it was doing this weird, like, sometimes it looked huge, sometimes it looked small. And it was almost like at one point, the closer we got to it, the further it went away. Like when we were driving in that direction. Is that? Is that? Oh my gosh. It is. It is. No. It's the Lumi. All natural was expensive, but the rash was free. I love those Lumi ads. I haven't seen them in a minute though. Now I see the one that's like the person who invented it and why she invented it. I am not getting a mystical shaman card. Can I get one of these, please? I'll give it 5 more shuffles for like 2 at the most. 4, 3. Oh, okay. I said 2. 1 or 2. One more. And then the final shuffle, because that's how I do things. I think the hummingbird count. Okay. I guess we'll continue with this one. See, with that triangle thing, it's almost maybe an energy of ignoring or bypassing or not seeing the truly magical and wonderful because it doesn't take on the air of I want to say like mystique, but I don't think mystique is the word I should use. It's like an everyday magic, or like an everyday. Um, it's almost an energy of you don't know what you have until it's gone, but it feels more like maybe since we have so much exposure to it, we don't see how truly like wonderful or magical it is. Because it's like, and it's red. Like, this is the thing that would usually alert us to the presence of something. But this is added so we know it's there in cases and situations where we're not using it. Because if we're going to use it to do something else, then we want it to be almost as pure and natural and raw as it can be. We don't want it to taint the finished product. Why sell Russell? Halloumi cheese. What is halloumi cheese? The alpaca wool commercial. I haven't seen the alpaca wool commercial. De-escalation videos and techniques. I did de-escalation training on when I worked on campus. The de-escalation training was interesting. They were like, do this and do that and stand like this instead of standing like that, and you'll be like less of a threat or something. I don't know. I don't think these are gonna work. I'll give this three more. One. Usually I count down. Two. That was three. I think it's in here. There's something I haven't gotten yet. But I'm like, oh, halloumi. I'm not a huge cheese person. Not by itself. I think I'm more of a cheese person now. I was like, if I'm eating cheese, I gotta have like meat with it or something. Like grilled cheese sandwiches, it's too much cheese. It's just like cheese and bread. Like a cheese sandwich, I'm like, ugh. Oh, there's a four-leaf clover on here. 5 and 5 is 10. 153 is a 9. And then there's another 10. So it's almost, I feel like that energy of like taking a step back and then going forward again. So maybe there's an energy where it's like you won't be able to identify it by smell, but you can touch it. I'm like, what is this? What is this? It's a cheese from Cyprus that's rubbery and makes your teeth squeak. They wrap it in mint leaves, but you griddle it and it's heaven. What? Rubbery cheese. It makes your teeth squeak? Sun in Gemini, Gemini, Sun in Capricorn. This card. The lovers. I want one of these to clarify the lovers, please. Okay. Um, 49 and 39. Soul retrieval and the owl. I feel like I've gotten soul retrieval and the owl together before, but maybe not. The lovers is soul retrieval. Maybe it's an energy of making the ordinary extraordinary. It's like to see something and not know its potential. Almost like in the hands of one person, this is like useless. But in the hands of someone who knows how to use it, it becomes a thing. So now I'm gonna put whoop, whoop, whoop. That's why I got this deck. Thank you. I was like, I want to put something on soul retrieval now, but I don't want to put another. I don't want to put another magical correspondence on it. These are some cards I'm gonna have to get into. Oh, I forgot all about that. I did think as it was getting close to time to leave today that I would watch the end of the live and see what was at the bottom of the deck. See, and the Sphinx is here. So this is like a gatekeeper energy. Before the Sphinx, maybe that's why the alert has been removed. Because it's like it would give the answer away. And so that would be an energy. It's like if you can't rely on the sense that you usually do, or if you can't detect something in the way that you would, like you're conditioned to or trained to, then how would you pick up on it? How would you know it was there? How would you know when you have to like leave or move on or when it's time to initiate the next step? And then the unicorn is after that walking in the future direction, walking off towards the right. See, it's almost like the question being asked pull something from us. Because it's like with soul retrieval and the sword and the lovers, it's like it's rising out of the self is the answer to that riddle. And then it's almost like the question is irrelevant because it's like it was all designed just to get that thing to rise up from within you. Because then the sword comes out of the third eye. It turns us into the unicorn. Like the sword is integrated into our biology in some way. Right, just like they say that, like for swordsmiths or for a lot of people, where the tool becomes an extension of their hand or an extension of themselves. It's almost like it becomes a part of them, and that's what's like being bridged in a way. Of a Kate Blanchett movie that portrayed his character. Kate Blanchett from The Council? Question mark. Hey Grace, how you doing? So the card that came out on top of Soul Retrieval is the King of Earth. And the card at the bottom of the deck is the King of Air. With the Eight of Air under that. See, and that's the you see these like these little unicorn. Are these spiders? No, it looks like they're acorns. You see these little spidery acorn question mark looking things dangling down here? It reminds me of what the crow is looking at. Like this thing and these things. And it's like a potential breeds potential almost. Because when a plant matures and ripens, then it produces the seeds to grow a whole new plant, right? It is the council? Okay. That's a magpie. Okay. I was like, I don't know what this bird is. I know the magpie is in the ring card in the Lenormand that you have. So the King of Earth, number 14, the 14 of Earth. See, but with the cards as they are, if I read like the Ten of Swords, the Lovers, and the Four of Pentacles, it would be an energy where it's like someone goes through some difficult process. Something had to be let go. And because of that, it's almost like they stop living their lives. They make choices and decisions that won't get them hurt anymore, right? Because they experienced pain one time. And it's like now they Four of Pentacles because the Ten of Swords was too much last time. And so it's almost something preventative. Well, it is something preventative. And it's because of that that we actually lose touch. And it's because we lose touch that we're mystified by things sometimes. And so it's almost like then this soul retrieval will be us regaining the thing that we lost, the thing that we sacrificed to not experience a certain flavor of hurt or pain anymore. And it's like the world took it from us. Life took it from us by virtue of life being life. And because the world is what the world is, because people are who people are, we make choices and decisions to not do something so that we don't experience something, but it keeps us. And it's almost like it turns into a Stockholm syndrome type of thing, right? It's like when you've been in the house. It's that like that one AT&T I think commercial with the woman who like put googly eyes on her mug and her vacuum cleaner and everything, and she was like doing whatever, and she's like, "Oh, this person's my favorite. Don't tell Geraldo." And Geraldo was like the vacuum with googly eyes. It's like our imaginations run wild to make the situation that we're in like less, to make it more comfortable, more hospitable. That's another thing. It's like when we get used to a smell, so we don't smell it. So maybe the warning is still there. We've just gotten so accustomed to it. It's like we've ignored it for so long that our senses dull to it and our bodies don't even alert us anymore. This could be a number of things. Seagulls said to thieve shiny objects for their nests. The raccoon of birds. They guard your library? What? Oh, wow. Tequila Mockingbird? One for sorrow, two for joy, three for a girl, four for a boy, five for silver, six for gold, seven for a secret never told. Wait, who's saying all the magpies? We were, we were driving home, and there were these birds like going one way and then another way, and then they would go back, and it was over a cornfield, and they were just like going back and forth. And they were smaller, and I was like, "Are those butterflies?" And my mom was like, "Butterflies." She's like, "Did you just ask if they were butterflies?" I'm like, "Well, they look kind of small. I don't know." She's like, "Those are not small." No wonder seven is a popular number. So, is that what this is? See how like roundabout this is, and how like 15 different things came out, or like 3 to 5. None of this is connected, really. I mean, the heart is here. Okay. Can I get a mystical shaman oracle card for this? 4 of coins, please. 4 of coins, please. No. For the 10 of swords. I get one for the 10 of swords. Mystical Shaman for the Ten of Swords. 3 more shuffles. Like 2 cards at the most. 2 more. 1 more. Last one. I said 2. I'll take this one. Oh, it's the Crow. Number 13. And 49 is a 13. Can I get one of these for the Crow? Magpies are of the crow family. What? Are they corvids? Is that corvids? I think crows are corvids. I'm not sure. A murder of crows. I feel like I was thinking of something earlier, but I can't remember. Okay, for the crow. I'm going to keep going until the card comes out. So. Okay. So the Queen of Earth came out for the crow. The King of Earth came out for soul retrieval. And when the King of Earth came out, the King of Air was at the bottom of the deck. When the Queen of Earth comes out, the King of Water is at the bottom of the deck. So both Earth and Water are yin receptive. But both air and earth are on the logic side of things. And so earth is the liaison between receptive intuition, I guess, and expressive logic. I guess, because I don't know how else to say it. Patrick is not predicting a murder, no. But some will be murdered because people are murdered every day. Unfortunately. That is the world we live in. Look, she's got the acorns too. Hers is more vibrant though. And it's almost because it's like because she has more color, some of the details are easier to see. Like the deer. It doesn't blend into the background like it does here. And some of these little floaty, glowy things almost look like pairs of eyes. Like this one, that could be a pair of eyes, but these two are further and they're oriented in a way where you wouldn't necessarily think that they are. Oh, well, speaking of murder and crows, like it's the Ten of Swords. So the crow is the witness of this. 13 is death in the major arcana. And both the Sphinx and the crow are looking in the same direction. There are so many little details on these cards. I'm like, wait. Like this thingy, I don't know what this is. This little spiral thingy, I don't know what that is. Whatever this is. 17 crows. Oh my gosh. I didn't really see crows last year. I was a little sad. Yeah, see, it's something forfeit. And that's what happened here. We were drained of color. Because, like, this is life before the Ten of Swords. This is life after the Ten of Swords. And maybe it's some of the things that we sacrifice for the sake of maturing and maturity and stuff like that, right? We learn how the world works and operates. But we forget that fill in the blank. And wait, what? In Portugal, you saw azure magpies. What? Azure. So now, can I get a card for this 4 points? I mean, I don't really think I need one. I feel like the story's pretty solid up to here. But I'll try. Oh, look, speaking of crows, and it's like crows in the sky. Sometimes I don't want to feel those metal clouds. First year you had crows. What? Now it's hummingbirds. So there's 4 points. I had a dream last night that I think I was pet sitting a lioness and a cheetah, I think. And they were like in the same cage kennel thingy, like in the same kennel. And I was like, I didn't think about it until they were in there, and I'm like, oh, like, I hope they get along. But they were like really cuddly. I don't know. Two big cats in the same dream. 6 crows for gold. Ooh, I'll take gold. Okay, 4 coins. And there was something about them I don't remember. I don't remember whose they were or why I had to watch them. There was a little bit of like, I hope I don't get 8. Like, hello. But they were cool. Kept them well fed so that they didn't get hungry, if you know what I mean. Because I wasn't trying to be on the menu. 4 coins. I don't know what this staff or rod is. I'm not familiar. Hello, Rebecca. I like my new job. It's interesting. It's I didn't think I would be doing what I'm doing. I like the people I work with. Um, ooh, oh well. Well. Look what the owl dragged in. The owl that was at the bottom of the deck when Soul Retrieval came out. How are you doing, Rebecca? The bottom of the deck is the lower world. I am a quality control microbiologist. So I do a whole bunch of micro tests on all kinds of stuff to make sure nothing's growing in it. And if things are growing in it, then it's not like stuff that shouldn't be growing in it. And also that it's not like an overabundance of stuff. So microbio. Yeah. For the owl. Rebecca works with dangerous chemicals. What? There are chemists. They're in the other part though. He was like, "This is he said, "This is an expensive piece of equipment, and if you put it in the wrong thingy, it could break the whole thing." And I was like, "Oh, see, that's why I'm back in the lab. This is why I'm in the lab." For the owl, please. For the owl, please. I was thinking today, I was like, I wonder how much of the reading goes unsaid. Because it's all just like thoughts. And I think I said it yesterday. I was like, what? I didn't say that. I thought I said that. So we saw the King of Air at the bottom of the deck when the King of Earth came out. And the Owl was at the bottom of the deck when Soul Retrieval came out. Now the Queen of Air is at the bottom of the deck. So there's this interesting energy where we see the king first, right? Like we saw the king of earth and the king of air. And then the queen of air came out with the king of water at the bottom of the deck. And now the queen of air is at the bottom of the deck. And the card that came out is the nine of water. Oh. I was gonna say that I think this is one of the few cards in this deck where the third eye is actually on the person and it's not just like floating in the sky somewhere. But this feels like an overlay because around the third eye you can see the little, it's like an indigo-y light blue bulb thing. You see what I'm talking about? Who are we talking about? Your degree was in English Lit and molecular biology. What? Mine was in biological engineering, concentration in pharmaceutical process engineering. And it's funny because I was wanting something in like pharmaceutical adjacent so I can transfer into the pharmaceutical industry but get experience outside of it. And I was looking at a different place at home. And I was like, it's a food place. I was like, well, they do food and food is regulated, but because of where I work, like because of some of the products that we make, we actually have to abide by some FDA regulations because they're considered like OTC drugs. I was like, what? What? I would not have thought those were like over the counter drugs, but they are. Anyway, yeah, I did remember that. You're in the farm industry? What? Yeah, farm industry was my first go to. It's what I first wanted. Now I'm like, hmm, I can be interested in nearly anything. So, oh, did I say water? This is the nine of earth. Sorry. This is the nine of earth. And she's also got the acorns. So the king, the queen, and the nine, they've all got these dangly acorns. And that's what the magpie is looking at. Almost perched on the sword, but looking at the acorn. This is all Earth at the bottom of these decks. I mean, but that makes sense because of the whole thing, right? And that's what Earth is. Earth is almost like a mirror. It's a product of whatever goes into it. So if you don't care for something, if you don't nurture it, then it's not going to grow. If you do, in the ways that it needs to be nurtured, then it will. You can't care for a rose the same way you care for a cactus, the same way you care for a different plant. And when we assume that they're all the same, that's when we deceive ourselves. And that's also when we miss out on the bounty of the natural world. Are crows nocturnal? The room water. I know I ain't drank a room since I remember the ool room. I was like, I just feel a little whatever. And then Rain was like, this isn't doing anything. I'm gonna drink something else. She was like, let's drink this other thing. And I was like, okay. And I was about to go fill up my water. And then she was like, wait, I think it's starting to hit. And she's like, okay, I'm going off to go meditate. And she was like, oh, you should do it too. And I did. And that's where it was that thing. And it was like, we're waiting on your light. And it was because the right light puts shadow into its proper proportion. And it gives things a depth and dimension. And it gives things color. Light and shadow make color. Where otherwise everything would be a homogeneous, either like white or black. See, but this person isn't who they seem to be. Do 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 do. You keep trying to refocus on what is real. Those dangling acorns are too much. Wait, who? What? What? Uh, I am no expert in anything. My journey started in 2019. It'll be, oh my gosh! It'll be my, well, technically 2018, like November 4, 2018, is the day I claim as my birthday. Because I think that's the day that my first decks arrived. So that's why I claim that day. When I got my first decks, and then I started meditating and everything. So I'll be a fresh 3 years old. I'm a toddler. I've made it through my terrible twos. I guess I'm still in them right now, technically. Your day job is working in a corporate industry that you're not vibrationally compatible with, but it doesn't define you. Yeah, it doesn't. Not completely. What was I saying? Oh, see, yeah, I thought it was her. Something is going on with these little sparkly things here. See the sparkly things around her? And then the sparkly things down here, but some of these are like eyes. They look like eyes. Somebody talked about this recently. I have a feeling like it was Reem, but my brain has been so all over the place, I don't even know. How to integrate spiritual awakening with corporate America? Just maintaining integrity or trying to? Is that a question for Eve? Seer eyes? I don't know if they're seer eyes. This energy actually came up before. It was the energy of like somebody watching us through the eyes of animals and even watching us through the eyes of other people with the watchers. And I said that this person wasn't who they seem. I think this person, but like that's the thing about tarot. The Nine of Pentacles is often the same as like the Queen of Pentacles. Not often. Sometimes the Nine of Pentacles, it's the same person as the Queen. This is who this person appears as here, but she is really whoever this is, or whatever this is. This is her. So where is he? Or is she both of these? Are these the same? Just like shifted in different whatever? Or no? I random strange noises. Must be in the energy, Russ. Where do I go from here? Oh, I saw that earlier. This is on the crown. Where's the other one? So I'm looking at her little rose petal brooch. I don't know what that is. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, wait, I've seen that. It's one of the flowers under the crown up here. And it's like, okay. So again, it's like they're actually the same person. Where is this one? I don't want to take the route of like it's us in some way. Maybe. But and maybe that's why the magpie is looking at these acorns. So then one of them we would be able to identify. Anytime I see a sphinx, I'm just going to start shutting the video down. No problem, Rebecca. Sorry I didn't answer your question. I don't. I wouldn't know how to answer the question. Because I never really see like it as like I don't necessarily see it as a difference like my spiritual life and any other life that I live. It bleeds into everything, or it exists in everything to different degrees, sure. Excuse me, in different moments and at different times, but I don't know. I don't think she's the queen after she drinks the water. I think she's already the queen. But she's offering maybe we're the king after we drink the water that she offers. And that follows along with a movie that I watched. I can't remember the name of the movie. It's the one with the people who remember their lifetimes from lifetime to lifetime. Let me see. And it was on Paramount Plus, maybe. And it's like the female, the girl, the lady, the woman remembered before the dude. See, but I don't know. Rob Revere's got me questioning everything. Royal Jelly, way. Royal Jelly, way. Uh, for that, Rebecca, I don't know what to say. I feel like more often than not, the people I come in contact with have been like I don't necessarily have to tell like everybody like every part of who I am and what I do and what I enjoy and stuff like that. And so I find ways to connect to the people, excuse me, in my life in other ways. And I've never really been in a position where I've had to choose like my spirituality or something else. because I guess it's all, I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't know how to. I wouldn't even know how to respond to that, honestly, Rebecca. Excuse me. Yeah, the royal jelly. No, like she's the same. She doesn't change. This is just what she looks like here. This is what she looks like. Like this is the truth of her. Like this is what she actually looks like. So she's the same person. It's like this is how we perceive her with our eyes because our eyes wouldn't know how to perceive the truth of this, if that makes any sense. Now, this is the one that is like missing. But this one falls under soul retrieval. So maybe it is us. Maybe it is us. Oh, got you, Russ. Oh, okay. I see that. She's like, see me as I truly am. She's like, drink this and then you'll see the truth of who I am, or something like that. And then you go on the whole trip and you're like, wait, what did, what was that? I think Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly did an interview, and there was something that she was like, something weed. She was like, you smell like weed. And then he said, I am weed. And then she said he disappeared or something like that. I don't know. There is something, I don't know, just like slightly off about this, though. Maybe it would just be to like, because it's almost like if these are the same, then in her search, I guess in her search for him, it almost feels like there's an energy of like somebody who can't handle it, or like she doesn't even know who. So it's almost like she's offering this cup to everybody, and she's just trying to see, who, when they drink it, can either see her for who she is, or when they drink it to see what they turn into or whatever. And I don't know if this got some kind of side effects or whatever, but it don't even seem like she necessarily too much care because she's so focused on trying to find whoever or do whatever. I don't know. You know how sometimes we can have like questionable, how we can have questionable morality and ethics when there's something that like we really desire, and it's like, do the ends or do the means justify the extremes almost. And I feel like a lot of times we can be really quick to say yeah when the answer maybe should be no. An aphrodisiac, what? Oh. What is this? So whose owl is this? What is this? This is beyond me. This is beyond me and beyond the scope of whatever this is. Just watch Rob Odinson. Video where he talked. It's like Rob Revere, the 40 beings are coming or something like that. It's like that energy almost. Because it's this it feels like an energy that would prey on someone who's been through this 10 of swords. And because they've been through the 10 of swords, there's some kind of internal rift that they feed when they don't do what it is that they truly desire, when they don't say the words that they truly desire to that they truly desire to speak, when they don't do the things that they want to do, when they go against themselves and they live this Four of Pentacles life. And so then it feels like it feels like a like almost like a predatorial sort of energy where it will then come in and offer you something and say that it's yours, but it doesn't feel like it is. But we buy into it because of this. This is the root cause. This is the reason why. And it's because we don't want to face this again, because we don't want to open up to it, because we don't want to whatever. And it's like any way out. It's like on that midnight train going anywhere but here, anything but this. That's why it's like, I don't know, something about this Nine of Swords just doesn't feel right. Like, look at her face. I don't know. Something about her face. And it's like, it's what she's trying to make somebody or who's like, there's an agenda here. And then I'm looking at the Queen of Swords on the bottom, or the Queen of Air at the bottom of the deck. And it's like in this space where it should be a third eye, There's no eye. And then her eyes are like this, and behind that is the seven of air, which is almost coming through as like, well, you agreed to this type of energy. I'm just like, well, oh, oh. But I mean, and it's like we get answers to questions that we're asking, answers that we'd rather believe than the truth. And so we buy in. And then we become the vessel for whatever's in the cup, whatever's in the bowl. We become the vessel for that. That's, oh, goodness. Not you, Eve. And it's almost like, and it's funny because in that video, Rob, he was like, it's like the friend who, or like that person from high school that you haven't talked to in like X amount of years, and then like they reach out to you and they want you to be a part of their team or something like that. Because it was this, it's an energy that's like, it's trying to find a vessel, it's trying to find a foothold here. It doesn't care whose life gets like messed up or whatever. It doesn't care who it turns around or whatever. And it's almost like some like, oh, it's just like it's looking for a vessel. And it preys on, and it's not that it necessarily, because like you could say like it preys on people who have been through a certain experience, maybe of loneliness, maybe of isolation, and so they reach out and they reach out for more. And is it a question of like preying on a certain type of person, or is it more like a certain type of person is more susceptible, right? Because it's like if it's someone standing on a street corner handing out flyers, not everyone is going to A, take the flyer, and B, not everyone who takes a flyer is going to like follow up. But it's like it takes a certain type of person to take the flyer, to hold on to it until they get to somewhere where they can do something with the information, then follow up, and then go through the entire process, only to find out afterward, like maybe I shouldn't have taken the flyer in the first place. And if I did, like I didn't have to do this. And like honestly, we're offered so many things by so many people, so many different sources. For me, when I got my cards, it was like cards, that's it. No candles, no rituals, no this, no that, for me in particular. And so for a lot of stuff like that's recommended or like do this or do that, and I just don't do it. It's not for me. But I know there's a whole lot of information about like a whole bunch of stuff. And whenever we get into something and we don't know, again, we're in a position where we're looking for information or we're looking for a connection. And like that can happen in the 3D. Like you can meet a person who can read you. A lot of times we call them narcissists, who can read you and they can tell that you're looking for something. And they'll pray or they'll use that to like lure you in and get you into all kinds of situations. And then it's like before you know it, you're sort of in too deep. And you're like, how did I get here? And it's like, it's because of whatever this 10 of swords was, that we go looking for the types of connections that we go looking for. And it's like when you can see the red flags, but you ignore them for whatever reason. That's why it's this thing where it's like there's an alert, but we're not paying attention to it. I don't know if it's because it's been disguised or what, but like we know it's there, and it promises us a lot of things. That just took a whole turn. I'm just like, what? Yeah, this is. It's just like, oh, it happens in so many ways, like so many areas and sectors and aspects of life. We want something, we desire something, we go after it. We sign contracts, we take jobs, we date people, we move in, something happens and we decide to stay, we decide to work through it, we reason away and rationalize and explain. But this is more in a spiritual sense. And again, it happens here because we tear ourselves apart, because we split ourselves apart. And it's those rifts within us that make us vulnerable. It's not the rift itself, though. It's how we choose. Because again, it's like, is it vulnerable or is it susceptible? Are they interchangeable? Is it the same? Is it an energy that preys on, or is it just like only the susceptible sort of get it, right? It's like if you've built up the immune system to it, then even if you do get it, your body will fight it and you'll never even know you had it. Or maybe one day, like you're a little extra tired, or you get the chills and you're like, oh, my body is fighting something off. Like, I'll be better in like tomorrow or in a few days. And it reminds me of that well crafted illusion card in the Diceology. And the illusion isn't well crafted. Anybody who isn't you would see it for what it is. But because you desire what you desire, you just overlook it. Now, what this is in particular, I don't know. Oh, yeah. I'm just like, oof. I'm like, I can't. I don't know. I think sometimes, though, like if there are people involved, they're like, oh, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, or I don't want to be mean, or whatever. But besides that, it's not like I lived much of a life. I didn't really live the life I had. So didn't really do much, didn't really take any chances or risks or go anywhere or do anything, like I said. Yeah, this isn't great. And I've been thinking of the light and the dark, light and shadow. I've been thinking of the light and shadow and less than holy energies, like devil energies, and how it's like in that like devil energy, not devil energy, light and shadow. It's like the shadow will give you things, the light will give you opportunities to get them. And it reminds me of photosynthesis and how in the light cycles, the light provides the energy, the light provides the opportunity for plant cells to build up these chemicals that hold that energy. And then when the light goes away in the dark, they're using that energy to build up those sugars to sustain themselves. Like they're using those opportunities to build something within themselves. Not just like it's not like they're drinking sunlight, right? It's not like they get sunlight with a fork and they eat it and it sustains them. Like they still have work to do. I don't even know if you can give plants food. Can you give plants food? I'd be interested to see. But it's like that with anything. It's just like light gives you the ability to see. And dark is the space where you have to rely on senses that aren't sight. You can still smell in the dark, you can still hear in the dark, you can still feel in the dark, you can still taste in the dark. The only thing you can't do in the dark is see. But when we're used to living in the light, it's almost like sight confounds so many of our senses because it's like it gets wrapped in there. It's also a part of it. I don't know. And maybe it's also a comfortability thing. We go for whatever is most convenient or whatever inconveniences us the least. Whatever is closest aligned to what it is that we already seek, desire, or believe. And so we get caught up in our own webs and we think we're the spider. And maybe we are the spider, but at some point a bigger spider comes along. And it's like if we would just like face sort of reality as it is and not how we desire it to be or not how we would have it. But if we look at reality for what it is, it's like it would demystify a lot of things. And we don't have to make it into anything more than what it actually is. Sometimes it just is what it is. And in its isness, it can become something different in ways that we nurture it because we're on Earth. It's the element of Earth. Earth requires nurture, investment, and things like that. That's why that's why this energy is like weird because it's Earth. In Earth, it's about like nurturing and developing and growing. So we can't just like get it. I don't know if there's any like instantaneous, like whatever, because everything needs to be sustained. And what sustains it if it's not us? Going back to that solar plexus chakra yesterday. What sustains it? What moves it? What drives it forward if it's not us? And we put a lot of trust and faith and a lot of things outside of us. I don't know. Wait. You're a Sag rising Aries moon. Oh my gosh. What? Oh, they're flipped. Sag moon, Aries rising. Sag rising, Aries moon. Excuse me. Yeah. That's why I like to, hey, Corey, that's why I like to differentiate between dark and shadow. Because to me, dark and shadow aren't the same thing. Shadow is what happens whenever you obscure the light. Darkness just is, right? The sun rises, it's light. The sun sets, it's dark. I guess like the sun is on the other side of the earth, so earth is obscuring the sun or what? I don't know. There's light and there's dark. Shadow happens when you obscure the light. Shadow also happens when you obscure the dark. So you can get a light shadow. You can get something that looks like light, but it doesn't have any of those qualities of light to it. And it reminds me of that. It was like knowledge. No, it said zeal without knowledge is like fire without light. And so it's like it doesn't warm you. It doesn't, for things that are photosynthetic, it doesn't grow them. It doesn't offer much outside of empty-ish promises of what it is that we wish to see, experience, or manifest. Shadow is on both sides of the spectrum. And sometimes something will obscure the dark, and because it obscures the dark, we perceive it as light, just like something that obscures the light we perceive as shadow, when it could just be the dark. It's like darkness is, light is. We can put stuff on top of them because of the way, because of where we are on the energetic sort of side of things, because this is and because that is some things, right? Like if you see it in the daytime, if it's diurnal, then it's more, it's easier to associate with the light. And if you see it at night exclusively, almost, it's like nocturnal, it's easiest to associate with the dark. But I don't know, it's a whole lot of stuff that I don't even get into, or I try try not to get into at the very least. But we're human. We want and we desire, and there are wants and desires that we don't even speak. And it's unfortunate, of course. But I guess that's where you say that our paths and our journeys are our paths and journeys. And what's for one to experience is for them to experience. I think in some way we are actually this king of earth, though. Or we can be. And maybe it's about realizing that we can become this king of earth without accepting this. Because again, it's that thing where we ignore the red flags because of what he offers and because of what we desire. But it's like we can come into the space of fulfilling our own desires in ways where we don't have to compromise ourselves in whatever way we would compromise. Oof. I accidentally pulled up the Five of Swords when I was picking up the Tarot of Dreams. Look at that. Look at that. Ooh, we got whips. We got five swords. There's a sense of smell again. But now it's Gavura. And Gavura is severeness. There's a severeness here where there was a mercy here in the Four of Coins. Well, that went all the way to the left. But I guess we're coming up on Scorpio season. And so when we're looking at changes and transformations and stuff like that and what we desire, the Princess of Cups was behind. No, that was at the top of the deck. The Princess of Cups is at the bottom of the deck. And we see the Sphinx again. We see that the circle within the triangle again. But now there's a tongue sticking out. There's a swan. There's a turtle here, a dolphin. It's an energy where it's like, where we still get there, but we take that slow path. We don't go for the more instant, I can fix this for you, I can remove this for you. Because I know nature abhors a vacuum. And it's like if something is removed, what's put in its place? Or like, it's like if there's a breach in a spaceship, like if you puncture the spaceship, everything comes flowing in because of the compromised integrity. Or does it go? Does it get pushed out? It feels like it goes in. So we're like sucking up anything and everything. I don't know. I don't know. But some of this stuff is old. And my thing is like, if most of this stuff was designed to do what it appears to do, and if it is as old as it appears to be, would not something be different? Justice. The elephant. Oh my gosh. And this is a lambda. Lambda is a wavelength. I remember that one. Wavelengths of light is represented by lambda in some equations. I'm pretty sure it's the wavelength, or is it the frequency? I think lambda is the wavelength. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I did say that. It gets sucked out, but it feels like it's going in. I was like, if I see another, I was like, if I see a sphinx, then that's gonna be my. I'm in the reading guard, so I guess it's over. Lambda. Oh, darn it. Lambda wavelength. Wavelength. Let's see. Let's see. Yes, lambda is the wavelength. Frequency is the something divided by the wavelength, and the wavelength is the frequency divided by the. What's the C? Amplitude? No. It's all wave chemistry. It's a wavelength. Hey, Vicky. And a wavelength, it's like it's from peak to peak, or trough to trough, or middle to middle. So it's the same point, or it's the same amplitude, right? So if we're in the trough, if we're in the valley, if we're in a low and we want the wavelength, we have to reach another low. If we go from the bottom to the top, that's half of the wavelength, assuming you get an even distribution, right? Or if you go from the top to the bottom, you got to wait till you get back to the top to complete the whole wavelength. Otherwise, it's like half. And it's like we have these half experiences, not even going through the whole thing, not even reaching, like working through to resolution. And again, it's that card. It's I think it's the nine of spades. That one. It's an end that welcomes weary travelers and a sly grin. It's an energy that knows like when we're at the end of our rope and when we're grasping for something, like anything. and then we overstay our welcome. Sometimes we even like forget that we were going somewhere in the first place. Like that used to happen to me. I didn't realize it in the moment, but I guess like my last year at school, somebody would say something and I'd be like, "Oh, my original plan was to do this." And I was like, "Whoa." Like I forgot that that was something that I wanted to do at one point. Before I was like, "Well, I can't do this because of my eyes and I can't do that because of this." And like before I reasoned everything away. Like there were things that I actually wanted to do with my life. There were things that I actually desired that I forgot because I got comfortable. I mean, not only because I got comfortable, but because I saw those as things that would never happen, or things like that happiness would only bring me pain when I would eventually lose it. So, been there, done that, not going back. And you can keep the t shirt. I don't want the t shirt. You can keep it. Been there, done that, on the better. But I do have the mug if you want to see it, I guess. Anyway, my toe feels weird. It's probably been in this water for too long. Oh, it's been almost 2 hours. It almost took me 2 hours to get with this. See, and I feel like this was go first, like I was confused, and then it was becoming gorgeous, and then it was really gorgeous when I was like, oh my gosh, she's her. And then I was like, wait, wait. Because even here, like something about her eyes, like her eyes look dead. I don't know. Like she's painted nice and there's a lot of colors and like she's got makeup on and stuff, but I was like, oof, I don't know. And then it's like we drink whatever, right? And then our eyes glaze over. We lose the light in our own eyes, and it's just like, oof, I don't know. Just in time for Halloween. I'm gonna call this like a spooky whatever. This is a spooky reading. Hopefully it doesn't resonate with anybody. If it resonates for you, then like I feel like the only thing I could say was like I hope that you face whatever it is that you need to face so that you don't go down paths like these again, or learn to accept, or learn to move on, or learn to be honest, or I don't know. But there are a lot of people who are hurting, and a lot of people who are reaching up and reaching out for lots of things, and help has become a business. And that's no shade to anyone who does it, because like you should be able to sustain yourself if you're in a position of service, or if you're like, doctors need to get paid, nurses need to get paid, lifeguards need to get paid, those in service roles like should be compensated for their work. And I remember actually when I was live with Corey that one day, it was like a monopolized spirituality, and it wasn't necessarily monopolized in the way of like the money. It's more so monopolized in the way of like how you go about like an awakening, or how you go about navigating your journey. It's the tools, right? And how it seems like there are these set ways to reach enlightenment or awakened, or it's like, if you want to reach this point, then do this and do that and do this other thing. And for some people, it works. And with some energies, it's almost like any not that great energy where it's like it's designed to do enough to make you think that it's working, or for you to realize that it is working, but it's almost like it doesn't work so well that you don't need it in the future or that you won't need it again. And then you become dependent on it. When the whole process, it was like about discovering it within yourself to the point where you wouldn't need anything external to you. Choice just came out, and it's all choice. I was supposed to do homework. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I didn't even do my homework. See, I think I think sometimes as humans, it's difficult to differentiate discernment from that which we wish to like experience, or that from like what we desire, right? Just like it can be difficult to distinguish your discernment from your fear or your anxiety or your worry. It's like, oh, something is like, my discernment is telling me, my intuition is telling me that something is wrong here, something is off here. It's like, no, everything is fine. You're just scared because you don't want to be in this situation for whatever reason. Maybe you, maybe it looks like something that you've experienced before. And so the patterning is like, oh, I recognize this pattern. I know what's going to happen. And so it's like it becomes more about like, again, it's like it's more patterning sometimes than actual discernment. And it's like, oh, I've been through this like 5 times. I know what this is. And it's like, but it wasn't that. And that wasn't your discernment. Your intuition was the thing that led you to it in the first place. Because this one was actually different. Or it's like, this is a thing that we've never like faced before. So whenever we come to the point to take on that challenge, that's when our fear and our insecurities start speaking. But our fears and our insecurities, they don't always speak to us in the way of like fear and insecurity. They'll find something, some reason, and they'll try to legitimize it. And it's that legitimized whatever that we then would mistake for intuition or discernment. When it's like, no, that's still your anxiety. It's still your fear. And this is a good reason to you because you're afraid. Like when you're afraid, a lot of things make sense. When you don't know anything, everything makes sense. Even when you do know stuff sometimes, if it's said by someone who's how to convince you, it's going to make sense. Even if you know that it's wrong, somehow they said it in a way that like makes sense. You're like, oh, like maybe that is right. And it's like, no, it wasn't. Because my mom asked me, Ada Bear, with choices. My mom asked me one night about people. And I was like, what did I say? But she was like, well, shouldn't people be able to like tell their intuition and their discernment from their fear and their anxiety? And I was like, a lot of people can't. Like, no, because it's the voice that tells us what we want to hear, or it's the voice that comforts us. It tells us what's easy to accept. And so we take it as truth. And in my own personal life, and I can only speak for myself, I found that my intuition and my discernment has actually put me in spaces that I'm uncomfortable with. Those things, it's like, I know this is going to be like really good. Like, it's going to link you, it's going to connect you. Something is going to happen in this space that you have no possible way of knowing until you actually go there. So go there. And then in the moment, that's when I'm like, oh, like, what if, like, I want to leave and I can't leave because I'm not driving myself here? Or like, what if like I'm sitting by people that I don't like? Or like, what if this, what if that? Like, oh, I shouldn't go. And then I was like, Patrick, like, because like everything was fine up until the moment where I did it. And that's when I was like, wait, this is my anxiety talking. This isn't intuition. This isn't discernment. And I went, and it was like one of the best experiences I've had in that space in particular, the best experience I've had. It was an opportunity for me to talk about my spirituality with people when the conversation was more about faith. And I got to talk on my personal experience of like going from an organized faith, Christianity more specifically, to whatever wherever I'm at now. And people were able to relate to it in ways. And I was actually like a lot more like I was talking and everything. Like, and then leadership opportunities, like other opportunities. It's like I'm not going to allow voices inside of me to sabotage this when I know that A, this is what I've been working for. And B, like even if I'm uncomfortable, like this is where my path is going. And I know that like that's not what you were talking about, Eve, but I couldn't help but take the opportunity to make that known. Like sometimes, and again, a lot of times we call it our discernment or we treat it like it's intuition because it legitimizes lots of things, but it isn't always. And that's where that honesty with self and that knowing of self, knowing how we create these rifts within ourselves, that's what helps us to be able to differentiate between the two, number one. But to have the courage to actually follow through is like it's almost an entire thing, like separately. Because again, like sometimes we know that things aren't what they appear to be, but we buy into it anyway for whatever reason. So I don't know. I mean, like my thing is like I would assume that it comes after some amount of growth or healing or something substantial. Like I don't think things just like change overnight, right? And I guess maybe that's something I should have clarified earlier. It's like if you've been doing the work, if you've been healing, if you have been intentionally seeking something, and you have been doing that earth pinnacle step by step, putting in the work, moving things, when the opportunity comes, sometimes it's an opportunity to be taken. And it's for you to realize that you're not who you were. You're not who you used to be. You're not like you don't have to fall prey to the same things. You don't have to be susceptible to the same things. And if you get yourself in a situation that you don't like, you are now healed enough, you are now brave enough, courageous enough to take yourself out of it. And you don't have to play like it doesn't play out the full way like it did last time. But again, it's like your discernment will help you differentiate between the two. And your readiness, your willingness to enter that space is also going to be a factor. So, I don't know. And sometimes when we choose one thing, we choose many. And we're not always cognizant of the choices that we make because of other choices that we make. We're not always aware. I don't know. I think I don't know. That's why I just personally for me, like I try to go for things of substance. And I like my life was so not lived that it's like if it doesn't like if I'm not changed or if I'm not facing things that I used to be afraid of, if I'm not making choices and decisions that I never would have made, then for me like I'm not doing it right because I'm not trying to repeat the same things over and over. And sometimes it's actually the exits out of those cycles that we don't take. is it an implicit like value judgment on self? I mean, maybe you could take it there. I don't think it necessarily has to be. It can also just be readiness. Like there were a whole bunch of opportunities that were good for me, that I knew were good for me, but I wasn't ready for opportunity. I wasn't ready for forward movement. I wasn't ready for my life to be anything different than what it was. But I could still recognize it in the moment. So and maybe in some way it goes back to that, it's that double solar plexus energy again. So I don't know. But for me, I will say that I feel like the hardest parts of my journey were made easy. Like in the beginning, my journey was made easy because, again, because of the life that I didn't want to live anymore. So if something scared me, if I was afraid, I did it because I was so shackled, and like being happy triggered me. Happiness triggered my depression. And it's like, oh, well, this isn't going to last. And it's better to be constantly miserable than to experience any happiness and then lose it. And like getting months away from graduation several times and still falling apart at the end because it wasn't that I wasn't ready to be done with school. It was that I wasn't ready to be in the world. And the longer I was at school, the more comfortable I was in knowing that I could navigate it. Now, my bank account, at the moment, I was like, that's future Patrick's problem. Future Patrick will worry about that. Now, like, if somebody's like, I will eliminate your student loan debt, I'll be like, I'm listening. You'll just take it away. You'll just make it disappear. Okay. But, I don't know if the easy way will be my path. I've entered Publishers Clearinghouse. I haven't won yet. So, but yeah. Yeah. And so for the first part, it was just like the absolutely terrible quality of life that motivated me past anything, everything. I was like, I'll face it. I'll do it. I don't care. And it's like the more freedom, the more liberation, the more connection I was getting, the more progression. Like it reached the point where I wasn't depressed. People like, Patrick, how are you? I was like, I'm like oddly not depressed right now. And I should be. Like if you look at my life, now is the moment where I should be the most depressed I've been in my life. But I'm not depressed. And then last year, a lot of it was motivated by love. Love made it easy for me to face myself. Love made it easy for me to get over myself. Love made it easy for me to be honest with myself. Love made it easy for me to accept my shadow as a part of me because my shadow was like, well, I also loved. And I'm not going to be the one to be all bitter and nasty. So if you're going to do that, that's you doing that. And I was like, what? Shadow, like, that's why I came to you. Like, I thought we would do this together. Maybe that's when my shadow became my darkness. And it no longer had to obscure light to be present or to have presence. I don't know. Finally, thank you. Goodness. Oof. Thunder and wind. Lightning was at the bottom of the deck earlier. Oof. Now it's the sweat lodge. This sweat lodge, thunder and wind. Where's the rain? Where's the lightning? You know how sometimes it thunders, but you never see lightning? I don't know. Anyway, yeah. And so I feel like in my journey, personally, I've never experienced, especially since I started my journey, I've never experienced something that was so difficult or so challenging that I didn't do it and that I didn't want to do it. So I feel like in some ways, in that regard, I can't relate. I can't relate to the journey being lonely. I can't relate to like not being able to fit in who I am into like I guess it took me a second to like integrate into the world, but it was just like a bunch of stuff that I had already learned. And then it's like I can find people who vibe with me even out there. And I found quite a few. And I was like, what? And for the people who can't do like just like people who don't like anime or like video games. If I talk to them, I just don't talk to them about anime and video games. But I don't have to like compromise my interests when I'm with them. I just like don't talk about it. I find some other way to connect. And if we don't connect, then we just share space cordially until we go about, the rest of our day. I don't know. So I don't know how to like I feel like I'm not the person to ask for advice. It's like, well, how do you get the I don't know, like my life sucked. My life sucked enough that that was the better option. That was the better choice. It's like I didn't have anything to go back to. So when I reached that, like I reached a point like it was the first time I've ever felt an apathetic depression. Like I've been sad, depressed basically my whole life, or what was my whole life. But it was the first point I reached an apathetic depression. I was like, wow. Like when I came out of it after like 2 days. And I was like, if I ever reach that space in my life again, I don't think I'll survive. And that was enough for me to be like, okay, I'm doing it all now. And like funnily enough, like I did this guided meditation on connecting to your spirit guides. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've never felt so like connected. I've never felt more connected to like spirit and like, knowing that like I'm loved and whatever. And then I had the darkest nights of my life. And I was like, okay, so like where's that love? Where's that connection? You don't care about me, I don't care about me. And then I came out of it and I was like, oof, okay. Okay, we got to do work because if I go there again, I'm not making it. So I've had some pretty big motivators in my own life. And compared to any fear or anxiety or worry, it just didn't compare. I was like, I'm not more afraid of this thing that I have to face to be whole, to heal, to not suffer at the sight of this or at the mention of that. Like, I'm much less afraid of this than I am of me going back to the life I lived. And like I said in Reem's comment, hey Reemy, like after you experience a little bit of expansion and liberation, it's like you want more. It's like, okay, yeah. And now like the point I've reached in my life, it's like it's like wow, like I really it's the light that I wasn't ready to see. And because I wasn't ready to see it, because I wasn't ready to see this, because I wasn't ready to be who I am, I didn't see anything. I couldn't see anything. I don't know. Anyway, I'm starving. I can't look at the sweat lodge anymore. Well, maybe one day you'll be so cold that you won't mind a little sweat. Hmm, maybe you'll go to the other extreme. So that's what I got after 2 hours and 15 minutes. Um, didn't expect this, but at the same time, mm, I don't know. It's the Sphinx's riddle. So, thank you, Laura. Thank you, Russ. Thank you, Russ. And most of all, like, I love me. Not that your love isn't accepted, not that your love isn't appreciated, but the most valuable love to me is mine. Because I've had so many people in my life who loved me and who believed in me and who would encourage me and motivate me. I'm not a stranger to love, and for that I'm extremely grateful. That's also it hasn't been my experience to have people in my life who don't wish well for me or who don't want me to succeed or who don't want me to get over my own challenges and get out of my head and like actually live my life. Now on the internet you'll find all kinds of people who will be like that. And petty jealousy is rampant, just like it is in real life, but it hasn't been my experience in real life to meet people like that. Or maybe it hasn't been my experience in real life to keep people in my life like that. Because my one friend, I told him, I was like, I don't do frenemies. I don't need frenemies. If you can't be encouraging and supportive, I don't need you in my life. I don't want you in my life. I don't care what you bring to my life. Don't care what it is. If you're not encouraging me and supporting me and making me feel better, I don't need you. And it took a while, but eventually we got there. And then everybody else is like, oh, wow. Like, I remember he told me, he was like, one of my friends today asked me how I'm so like sympathetic, and people are asking me how I'm like this. I'm like, wow. So everybody else is benefiting from what I'm putting into you, but I'm still suffering. Like, what's wrong with this equation here? But eventually we got there. We got there eventually. So yeah, some people like I'm just like, oh no, don't got time for it. Don't got time for it. Like I can be my own biggest critic. I can beat myself up. Like I can do all of that myself. I don't need anybody else to do that. You know what I mean? Not that I do that necessarily anymore, but I can also encourage myself if I do. Or I can be like, you know what? Let's just keep living life. Let's just keep doing it. You're gonna get better. You're still new at this. Give yourself grace. I've also learned how to do that. And I think like there have been like I feel like my journey was big epiphanies, huge movement, and overcoming things that I never thought I would overcome. And at the end of all that were the tiniest of threads of things that I thought about myself, of ways that I was hurting myself that I thought other people were. Like I had this narrative in my mind that like no matter what I ever did, like it was never good enough for my mom, so I'll never try. And then it wasn't until I think it was earlier this year when I realized one day, I was like, no, like I do that to me. I don't look at everything that I've been through in my life. I don't look at what I'm currently going through. And I constantly compare myself to where I could be or where I should be. Or I'll be like, in an alternate reality where I did everything that I was supposed to do, I have significantly less debt, significantly more money, and I'm more established in a career. And it's just like I'm always projecting, 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 but not accounting for the real life stuff that I've been through. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this to me. It's not my mom. What? What? And it changed like everything. I had a good cry. I had a good cry. Like, I can't believe I've been doing this to myself. I can't believe I've been hurting myself in these ways. I really thought it was somebody else. And it's like, no, girl, it was me. It's like Scooby Doo, but when you're the villain. And you're like, what? But they had motive. But she said this, he said that. At the end, for me, myself personally, on my journey, it was things that were so small and so subtle and so easy to attribute to something that someone else said a long time ago. But at some point, something within me that probably maybe even like existed outside of their influence was like already there. And that's what like blew my mind. And then I was like, oh my gosh. But I didn't reach that point until I was on this whole self love journey. It took me the whole self love journey to eventually be able to like stop doing that to myself, number one, and to be more like gracious and encouraging and supportive of myself, number two. And if someone is like, how do I do that? I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know. But anyway, it's been quite a journey. And I'm glad. I am severely grateful that my experience hasn't been what it seems a lot of people's have been. And for anyone who has that experience, like, I don't know what to say. It wasn't my experience. But there are people who have had that experience who are also here and they can chime in. And to them, I yield the floor. I don't need to be seen as having all of the answers or any of the answers. I will proudly and gladly and humbly and with a sense of still pride in myself defer that to someone who is more suited to answer that. Because I don't know. It wasn't my life, wasn't my experience, wasn't my mindset, wasn't my chains to break, wasn't my cross to bear, wasn't my fear to work through, wasn't my darkness. Mine was in different ways. Sometimes similar, not always completely different. But also, I'm a different person. Like, we're all different people. And so things affect us differently. I don't know. I don't know. So, yeah. He's trained in all that, right? If you need someone who is educated and trained and a lot of that stuff, check out Rob Odinson. That is ROB space ODINSON. He's a great resource. Also, check out Rustling Around. You see him right there. Check out Miss Remy Healings. Check out Everlong Mystic. Check out Anamkara Messages. And check them all out. Because for the stuff I don't know, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. For the stuff that some people are experiencing, I'm like, I don't know. It's not my experience. I'm not feeling that. I don't know. Some of the stuff I haven't felt or experienced, it's not like I never have, but it's just like, I feel like honestly, for some things, it's almost like when you realize the truth behind the cliche, but it took a whole whatever it took to see the truth in the cliche. So like I can give you cliches, but cliches don't mean much. I don't know. Ah, call him out, Reem. Yes, link that channel. You know what? I'll do you one better. I will find his channel and I will link it here for you. And like, I'm 99.999% sure that most of y'all would already know who Rob is. But in the off chance that you just randomly somehow stumble upon this video and this is the one that finds you, wow. Um, wish the best for you. And also check out Rob and Reem and Russ. And if you like the vibe, if you're so guided, consider speaking, talking, subscribing, liking, sharing, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Boom. There he is. But anyway, yeah. And I guess it's because I am who I am and my journey is what my journey is, and because I was told to not do certain things, some things, and because other things just didn't feel right for me, I never got into the habit or practice of doing something with a certain meaning. I guess I've been like hands in the dirt, like in my own life, not like literally in the dirt. Like when, like I don't go outside. I don't put my, well, I put my feet in the grass sometimes, but it's like rarely. I don't go hugging trees, but I do appreciate trees. And for me, it just doesn't, I don't know, because I feel like I can connect to the energy of Earth without having to go outside and be in it. But also, like, I was a like find the frequency type of person. This is Patrick Brain. Patrick Brain is like, someone told me to go for this crystal because of this. But if everything is frequency and vibration, then I can bypass the crystal and just go to the frequency and vibration of that. Like I don't have to put my feet in the ground to connect to Earth if I'm on Earth and like she's there. Like just let me find Earth. I'm a weirdo like that. So, but not everyone is like that. You know what I mean? And I think like that's also for us to understand how we're wired and which modalities actually speak to us. And it's like, maybe you can get limited use and results from certain modalities. But when you find the modality that is yours, my feet feel like rubber. When you find the modality that is yours, things just like click and things just work. And I know sometimes it probably sounds like I'm pooping on certain things. In reality, I'm not. But also in reality, a lot of times it's like if we cannot develop a dependence on a crystal or on whatever for us to feel something, then it's like I would hope that we do that because I think sometimes we don't actually deal with, we don't actually handle, we don't actually face what ails us. We go for the thing that makes it feel better, that soothes it, or that reduces the inflammation. But the underlying problem is still there. And then it's like, you go for a tune up every 3 months, right? Like if you've got bad posture, so you go to the chiropractor every 2 months, it's like, okay, like, or you could fix your posture and then you don't have to go to the chiropractor anymore. And then you can do all those activities like the people on the commercials, right? I've been taking this and now I can go for my morning jog again. My rheumatoid arthritis was keeping me from living my life. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. That's just me. I am not calling in on Rob. I almost considered it last time because I was actually there when he was live. I was like, what? I actually made it. Maybe I will. Well, he's been joking about some Sponge Rob and Patrick thing, so maybe that'll happen. I don't know. Raisin toes, yeah. And that's just why I'm like, I don't, it's just like, maybe it's because my life was what it was. And because I've experienced because my experiences are now what they are now, especially compared to what they were. But I don't know. I just like I desire a true liberation and a true freedom for like everybody, where we don't have to rely on or depend on this planet being in this aspect at this time and this crystal to do that and this. Because I don't know if it's just like, you know how we build up tolerance to substances in our physical body? Do we build up tolerances to energetic things? Like, does Reiki get less effective if you get it done on you like every month? Is your energetic body just like, okay, girl, well, like I'm used to this now. So you're going to have to go to something stronger than just Reiki? Is Reiki or crystals the gateway drug to that Nine of Earth card where we're drinking the Kool Aid and then all of a sudden we're like, okay, let me reel it in. Let me reel it in because some people don't appreciate the Patrick. I am who I am. If you don't like it, leave. I'm not going to be hurt. You can tell me about it if you want to, or you could just go and save yourself the time, or you could try to hurt my feelings. Sorry. This is a part of my darkness, and I hold it. I remember one time, I think I did it to Russ. I was like, help me, Russ, save me from myself. Because my roommate was like super passive aggressive. And he was passive aggressive to the point where it was starting to make me mad. And I think I can be passive aggressive, but at a certain point, I'm just going to be aggressive. And it's like, if you've got something to say, like, say it. Like, my door is right here. You know I'm in here. But instead of you just talking to me, you'd rather go out where everybody can hear you and cause a whole whatever. And I was like, I was talking to my roommate, I was messing with him. And I was in his room and I was getting loud. I was like, if you got something to say, like, you know where I am, come and say it. And he's like, Patrick, stop. Like, don't do that. And I was like, help me, save me. Anyway, it's fine. It is what it is. Uh, yeah, but and I don't know. It's like I used to say I'm the nicest person that people deserve to know. I was like, if you're not, and my friend, that friend who I was like, I'm not interested in frenemies. Like, if you can't be encouraging and supportive, I don't need you in my life. He was like, I don't see how you have so many friends, and I don't see how whatever. I'm like, I'm not with this. I'm not like this with my other friends because I don't have to be like this with my other friends because they're actually encouraging and they're supportive and they're there for me and they don't try to make me feel bad about myself. So they don't see this side of me. There's no reason for them to. But that doesn't make this any less me. That doesn't make this any less of my character. I am who I am, and always, I am always who I am. If you pull out some darkness, then that's Patrick too. Like Dark Patrick said, I loved too. I'm experiencing hurt too. And I'm not gonna be the ox that bears your burdens. So if you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this. And I was like, wow, will you listen to Patrick, Patrick, Patrick? Patrick is Patricking me? Hello? What? I respect that. Yeah, you're right. Anyway, I feel like it's officially reached that point in the video where we all know it should have ended like 2 hours ago. Half an hour into this video, I should just be like, you know what? I don't know what this is today, y'all. I guess I'm just not in the space today. It's just not coming to me today. I'm just not channeling today. The messages, the lines are getting crossed or whatever. They're shut down. They done shut down shop. I'm too tired. I done worked all day. I'ma just call it here. But no, I gotta go live for 2 hours and 35 minutes. Anyway. I think sometimes though it is like, somebody like called me out of my character or like, oh, that wasn't me. That was, and it's like, girl, that was you. That was you. Just own it. Just own it. Right? Am I the not greatest person sometimes? Yeah. Can I be really cold sometimes? Yeah. Do I have days where I'm just like a little cold and dead inside? Yeah. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't even know if I want to do anything today. I just feel like sitting today and staring at the ceiling for hours. I wouldn't say I'm dead inside, but maybe I'd just be like tired or something. And I'm like, okay. So I am who I am and always that I am. And no one ever makes me anything that I'm not. So if I choose in the moment to be somebody, I have to live up to that choice, you know? And I don't drink to blame it on alcohol. I drink, but I don't drink enough to blame it on alcohol. And I'm not going to blame it on the stars, even though I probably could, because at the end of the day, maybe it's a Patrick thing. Is that a control thing? Maybe it's a control thing. Good night, Holly. Maybe it's a control thing where I feel like I have to take accountability. I was like, no, that was me. That was just me. But I can also be really nice. I can be really sweet. There are people in my life who have never even seen me. There are a lot of people. It's funny because now there are more people in my life who've never seen me mad or angry or upset than like when I was in elementary school, like everybody knew that side of me. Couldn't escape it. Every now and then, whenever I see somebody from those days, I'll hear whispers. Do you remember when you did this? Do you remember when you did that? I'm like, yeah. Is there a part of me that revels in those days? Yeah. But the upper majority of me is just like chill. Right? Would I rather be chill? Yeah. Would I rather be eating some good food, watching a good show, enjoying the company of people that I love and admire and appreciate? Like, yeah, you know what I mean? But a lot of people would say that, you can't be human. You got to be whatever. So, but I'm not interested in it. I enjoy my humanity. Could I be a better human? Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, it's the path I choose for myself. And I can honor and respect other paths. I can also acknowledge the fact that for me, I just wouldn't get enjoyment or satisfaction. Like I said, like I had a quality of life that wasn't great, where I wasn't living my life. I don't want to do that again. But I think also there comes a point where it's realizing and recognizing, like, although I may have missed out on some things, I don't necessarily desire them. Sometimes I desire things that I thought I didn't or wouldn't. Right now, I'm in a space where I'm like, I think I'm doing so much of what I never would have expected that I'm just like, well, what's next? Right? What's the next thing that I thought I'd never do? Like, let's do that. Let's go skydiving. Why not? And if I die, I'm glad I lived to the point where I can enjoy my life. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I feel like I should have been gone. Oh my gosh. It's all Patrick the Real Russ. This is me. You don't recognize me? Hello, Russ. Russie. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. Maybe it's the playful side of me that doesn't often get to come out anymore. That's why I'm like, I think this is the part of me that I was like missing for a while. Because I'm just like, everything, it's not that there's a time and a place, maybe it's just that the world was and is so ripe with potential. Things have, I feel like, in my own very, 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 very short life, from my own extremely limited perspective, as I've discussed in this video rant of almost 3 hours, but it feels like things have never been in such a space of volatility and mutability and change. Like things can change now in a way that they could never have changed before because we were so fixed in everything that we were in. And the more we own our journeys, our lives, and who we are, the more we can face, the more we have to experience. And it's like everything is changing. All is what did he say? All is changed. All is changing, or something like that. Yeah, you're right. They don't. And then when it's like, okay, it's time to be serious. I think it was a serious time for a while, and it still is a serious time. And it's not that we can't enjoy things, but like I said, like it's my desire for us, everybody, to be like truly free and to be happy and to not be bound by things that we feel like we can't change, to the point where there are things that we would never choose, to the point where even in our own voice, it's like we would be talked out of what we desire the most, or we would just never take that opportunity. And I had such an interesting experience when everything was happening, because in my personal bubble, when everything was falling apart, I saw families expanding, people getting married, people getting new jobs, moving. Like, I saw people actually progressing in their life when everything else was kind of sort of falling apart. And it was this like, even though the world is what the world is, especially with the world being what the world is, like, things are still happening, things are still possible. And it's like we all have such different experiences that, like, I can say like this is what I'm experiencing, but if you're not seeing it in your own personal life, or if you don't believe that it could happen, then it's like doesn't really do much. You know what I mean? And if you'd much rather believe that everything is falling apart and nothing is going to happen and, blah, 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 whatever, then hey, choices, like Tatiana said. But I was just like, what is this interesting dichotomy? And which side of the fence do I want to fall on? And what do I got to do to be where I want to be? How can I water my own grass and make it purple? Because green grass is overrated. Anyway, anyway, I'm starving. The food was done hours ago, but I guess I am full enough of myself that I will just talk and ramble and put off the feeling of my belly for the inflation of my own ego. Anyway, go and eat and talk here. I would have to like I gotta take my feet out of the water. I gotta rinse some. I gotta go get the food. You know what? I could do that. What did Rob say? He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be Patrick and leave my stream for 15 to 35 minutes and come back with pancakes." Yeah, I am. I'm soaking my feet. I mean, I've been soaking them for almost 3 hours now. They literally feel like rubber. So my mom is not gonna. My mom is probably in her bed now. My mom would be like, "You're lucky I cooked today." I was like, okay. Pull a Patrick, right? Let me pull a Patrick real quick. Hey Matthew, how you doing? I saw your comment. I haven't replied to it yet. Oh my gosh. So the cloth that I use, if I'm being real with y'all, it's a shirt. It's a t-shirt, okay? I'm using a t-shirt. I use t-shirts. They're clean. I wash them. And I only use them for this. But the bottom of my t-shirt fell into the water, so it got wet. Ah, I was like, no. It's fine. It's fine. Maybe my t-shirt needed a good cleanse too. So yeah, look at this thing. It's wet. And I think this is my shirt that says just do it later. Yeah, this is the other side. This is the side of the shirt that you don't say. Just do it later. And that's where it fell into the water. Oh my gosh, let's do like it's like a Rorschach. What do you see? Leave what you see in the comments. I see. What do I see? Honestly, it's like a really, really big cat. Like these are the ears. Like here are the ears. This one's up. This one's down. And it's just like it's one of those really round cats. That's what I see. You see a boulder or a volcano? Ooh. My initial one was mountain. It was mountain, but then it went to a fat kitty. You see the fat kitty too? Okay. Yeah, it's a fat cat with the ears, and it's just like really round. Eve was like, no. Eve, Reem is like, no. A cat where? Like, it's right here. You don't see it? Don't you see it? It's right there. A cone? What? Like a traffic cone? Fat cats have cash. What? Money. I see money in my future. Ooh. I don't want y'all to see me eat. I've been live for like almost 3 hours. We eat when we watch you. It's only fair. Okay, true. Yeah. See, there you go. Not to force my view on you. You can see it as the mountain or volcano. You don't have to see it as the cat. Oh, a cone volcano. Oh, Russell is getting into the different types of volcanoes. Oh goodness. I'm just playing. I don't know. I know that is it the caldera is like the volcano that collapses in on itself or something, and so you get like the crater of like magma or something. I have to Google that one though. All right. I would stay, but I think I will actually end this. I was supposed to do homework today, so I don't have to do it on the weekend. I'll do the one class that I actually enjoy, and then I'll do the boring reading tomorrow. So you saw a mountain? Yeah, I saw a mountain at first. At first, I immediately saw a mountain. I was like, okay. A volcano of confetti and rainbows and sparkles and cupcakes and everything that is just like gorgeous. You know what I mean? Don't look at all the other stuff. Don't even just like don't even. I'm kidding. Oof, maybe it's because I'm tired. Maybe it's because I've been tired. Where I'm just like, I don't know. It's not the tiredness. It's just like I saw a wet t-shirt. Where's your imagination, Russ? You know what? A wet t-shirt is fair. We need realists in the world. We need people who see it as it is in order to make the world work. In order for the world to work, some people can't have an imagination. Some people can't be Pisces. Some people actually have to be realistic and be like, you know what? That's not what this is. And if we don't do anything, it'll never be. So you can help me make it into that. And we can make, we can build your vision. Or you can just keep hallucinating. It's fine. We all get to have our own experiences, no judgment. But if we can make it real, then, I think that'd be pretty cool. So, anyway. Anyway, I think I overfilled this. It's like really high. My feet are rubber. Have a great night, Catherine. I hope you all have a good whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make everything. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. And if you desire it so, I hope that it's in a real way. Because I think it's possible. But what do I know? I'm just some dude on the internet. I'm only like 28. I'm young. There's a lot of life I haven't lived. There's a lot of things I haven't experienced. There's a lot of things I'll hopefully never experience. There's a lot of things that I'll hopefully someday experience. And even if I were older, I still wouldn't know everything. I would still only have the experiences that I have. So, you get to choose yours. And I honor and recognize, and I love that for you. I love that you get to choose. I just hope that you recognize the choice as choice. I guess. I don't know.